I'm very excited to have a very special guest today, Dr. Aditi Halder. She is a Ph.D. in environmental science, an expert on sustainability development with more than 24 years of experience in this area. She has held various positions, including the current one where she is director at GRI, Global Reporting Initiative, which is one of the world's top standards on reporting sustainable impact, and also held various positions across local, regional and global geographies in this space. Thank you, Aditi, for joining today.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and thanks to HP India for actually leading the way. So before I begin, I would like to first congratulate HP India that you have really showcased a great momentum here in this country, which is so diverse and having a huge population of 1.3 billion and above. And I'm very proud that I'm also an Indian.
Awesome.
And the thing is that I went through your sustainability impact report, and if I may just, say why I congratulated you is because I think it's a great story that you have, and a story that has come out because you are practicing.
Yes.
And that has energized me to come here, even though I felt a little bit difficult to walk and reach this destination and meet you and your colleagues, but I'm sure we'll have a great interaction for the next few minutes to impart some of our perspectives and knowledge which you have acquired and which I have also seen and experienced. So I look forward to this interaction.
Thank you so much, and once again appreciate you joining in this time. As you rightly mentioned, right, HP's vision is to become the world's most sustainable and just tech company.
Okay.
And that vision is coming from our CEO Enrique Lores and our executive leadership team. And the Sustainable Impact Report which you saw has three large pillars on which HP is focused. One is around climate change, which is a big topic, as you know, in today's world. The second area which we are very focused on is around human rights, which is again another big topic which is there. And then the last is around a topic of digital equity, because as we are in the tech space, it is extremely important that how we are able to make sure technology is not a divider, but it is really giving equal opportunities to everyone. So those were our three pillars, but and we are very proud of what work we are doing at HP, and we have a long way to go. We have made a bold promise, and this is just the start. But from your experience and your work across Asia and globally, what do you think are the imperatives and key trends which you are seeing right now across various corporations, government, academia, other associations whom you are working with? Will be great to hear what are the larger trends on the sustainability as per your experience.
Yes. So as you know, I'm illiterate on the digital side. I'm only using my mobile and my laptop, and I get phone calls and I receive many other communication channels. But I feel that HP as an organization globally, you are at the right position, because we've seen for the last 2 years that we would not have actually interacted with any other human beings apart from our family if technology was not there and we were not connected digitally.
Yes.
So I feel great that you and other peer organizations, you could see through and have the vision how to connect human life together. And empower people through digital mode to have exchange of information, exchange of knowledge, exchange of thought process, and therefore the world should not come to a stop. So first is that. Second, I feel that as an organization, you are not just building the infrastructure and manufacturing products and goods, but you're moving into services whereby you see that you are creating an ecosystem of how digital inclusion can happen. So creating the ecosystem to contribute to the digital inclusion is very important. It's not just one component.
Yeah.
So, in a way, I think that is the way that a business can really thrive for a very long term. So, coming to the responsibility of HP,
Yeah.
you chose very three important things, which are human rights, climate action, and the digital inclusion.
Yeah.
If I am an outsider to HP and I see through different organizations and you as a leader in the market, I would say choosing human rights is very courageous act, because I will tell you something, that the word human rights, because of different groups talking about it, it has got its essence of being like a martyr to be a human rights activist, right? So, as a business organization, when you take human rights as a very key component to your pillar, it shows courage. Number two, climate action. This is an imperative.
Absolutely.
We don't have, actually, we don't need rather any negotiations and any debates. I am actually a little bit impatient about so many COPs happening around the world, because I was personally and professionally involved right from the beginning, and I see the 26th happening, and yet the conclusion is that no conclusion. So, what we want is, we have to have organizations who can contribute proactively to this great risk that is looming, and it is not some future time, but it is now.
It is now,
It is now. So, when I looked at your, impact report, I found that you have taken in action already. You have put numbers which you are tracking, and you are looking at future where you want to be. So, these are the three which made me feel very comfortable.
This is so exciting to hear, and great to hear your feedback. Thank you for sharing that. One of the things which you touched upon on the human rights, we are really focused on diversity, equity and inclusion, both in terms of getting the right gender as well as racial equity, because those are the two very important areas across the world. And I think clearly, as you rightly mentioned, this is an important but a tough topic, and we are committed to that. But coming to climate change, which is an important area, and want to probably deep dive a little more on this topic today. We have committed ourselves to be zero carbon, fully regenerative economy, and also develop products and solutions from an engineering stage to manufacturing to packaging and to the way we sell, in order to make sure that we are able to achieve this goal. A difficult goal, but something which we are very committed to. And you touched upon that this requires business model transformation from selling probably print instead of printers, or compute instead of computers, and that's why we are moving to a business model re-engineering of selling products on contractual basis, so that we manage the life cycle of the devices, reuse, refurbish and then use do the recycling in a better and efficient way. So these are some of the work which we are doing. But one of the things which I always get challenged by my team is that HP is doing such a great job. How do I communicate this value to my customers? And it should not become that, oh, you are overselling your this, because we are doing larger cause. We are not just doing it for the perspective of only doing sales. So how do you balance this conversation and strike a good level of strategic dialogue with our customers, because I'm sure this is important for them. It will be good to hear your perspective from the other side of how our customers may be thinking about this, and how our salespeople should be approaching this in terms of the conversation with the customers.
Okay, so it's I can hear you out to understand the thinking process and the concern and how you want to address this issue. So there are two parts to it, and I will look at one part.
Sure.
So one is that HP India, if I am right, you are trying to move from just the manufacturing of the products and move into more contractual to outsource that, and so you are developing a supply chain. If I am correct.
Absolutely.
On the other hand, you are trying to move into services, whereby you will have lots of people interaction,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So your asset, which a typical business put into books, is, you know, our infrastructure, our technology, you know, our land, you know, and all of that is the asset.
Yes.
And now what I am hearing you is that you are trying to create asset which is more of human beings.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So in that context, I feel that as an organization, you will have to look at what are your strategies which you already had to take care of those assets which are more tangible,
Yep.
yeah, more touch and feel. And now you are moving on to a transformation whereby you will have more people where it will be more of intangible.
And maybe on automation bit, because those
Maybe
are the
on,
other
yeah,
bit
maybe
of
on automation bit.
Yeah, yeah.
But you will nevertheless use human intelligence,
Absolutely.
human skill, productivity. And therefore, the biggest strategy for you would be to also look at how human skills, competency,
Yep.
and intelligence and wisdom can also be enhanced. So it needs a lot of deep diving to you know, understand the strategy which was based on more of, you know, the number to more of maybe not the numbers, but yet they are so important.
Got
So
it.
this is one from
Sure.
the organization. The other side you said about the marketing people. I would first like to take the people who are within the organization, because they are your ambassadors who are going outside, right?
Sure.
And they are interacting with your customers or would be interacting with future customers. So let me take a step back. Why do we all work? I think we all work for 3 reasons. One is that we want to earn an income, yeah, and second is we also want to have a status. So I am sure your colleagues who are in the marketing division, they must be feeling very proud to introduce themselves as HP.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. The third is we also work. Some of us work maybe in when we are young, or maybe as we grow old, and we start reflecting and saying, oh, I have earned a lot of money, now I want to do something value creating,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
So there are 3 dimensions to work. If I focus in only on the marketing division of HP, which you are trying to now grow, or maybe, you know, grow in a very different way, this is what I think they have to imbibe, to really understand that they are the fortunate ones who can not only earn money because of their
Yes.
employment, they have a status because of the reputation of HP, but they have a big role that they can play out in the market
They're adding
and
value
in the
already.
economy.
Yeah.
Correct. Because HP as an organization is taking all these practical implementation of climate change reduction, of human rights improvement, of digital inclusion. They are the ones who can reach out to n number of customers to bring that value.
And talk about this. You don't have to wait for your retirement to say,
Yeah.
I'll start
Correct.
adding value, right?
Correct. Yeah.
You get an opportunity as you're working.
So I would like to, you know, kind of share this opinion from my side, that those of you who are employed with HP, you have the 3 things that you already can actually put a tick mark to for your own life. But somewhere as individual, I would also like to mention here, Ketan, that, you know, sometimes we get into the process of preaching.
Right.
Like, I am a sustainability professional, I do that often. You know, I used to go to organizations, governments, policymakers, and I'll teach everyone that, you know, how you have to be sustainable. So the proposition here is, in my own daily life, am I doing something? This was a big reflection even for me, you know. So I feel blessed that, okay, I am in an occupation where I can teach about sustainability, but 4 years back I realized I was actually not practicing what I am teaching. So I am trying to change my daily life footprint in small ways. And if I may, I know I'm talking a bit more.
Sure, no problem.
That, you know, we can do small things. We can take up like 30 days, do a calendar, say that every day I can contribute one small thing in my daily life which will not cause negative footprint. For example, switching off the electricity switch when I am not using. I am not charging my mobile, you know, when in the night, yeah, we often do that, yeah. I'm having a laptop whereby it will shut down if I am not using for more than 10 minutes. I will not use paper which is not used, just one side of the paper. These are very small things.
Small
I will
things
not,
you can add to,
yeah, I will not waste food, you know, on my table. Yeah,
small starts to the bigger vision which you want to do. So you practice what you preach, right? In some way. Yeah, that's good.
So I think it is beyond just the marketing, division in HP. Also, if you can bring in this, because after the COVID, I think the word sustainability has become more, I think, home-based.
That's right.
It is not just the elite group anymore.
Yeah.
So in a home, when a colleague of HP returns back, what does he feel, you know, and can he or she also contribute to the sustainability agenda from their own life, wherever they are, whatever they are, you know, they can move. So when they go back home, do they feel really proud that they are also an individual running a family who they can be a sustainability promoter and a sustainability champion in their own family and to the society, the country and the region, and then this one world that we are all sharing?
No, I think you brought a very interesting point about, as HPite, we are blessed that the company has a broader vision. And we are able to probably contribute from now on every day in our own capacity. And I think the small step by each individual is a good starting step. Because when you start believing yourself, when you position to your customers, to my question about how salespeople should actually position this, your conviction is very different. Because you are able to talk beyond your products and you're talking about a genuine issue which the world needs to address and sensitize customers, which probably a lot of corporates are today, but not necessarily everybody has a similar kind of probably sensitivity which few organizations have, and there's a lot of work to be done. And we are very hopeful that people like you will be contributing a lot to sensitize some of the corporates. But tell me, Aditi, do you think that some of the sustainability, some of the procurement practices are moving towards this? Are you seeing that sensitivity coming into the corporate world or public sector procurement? And if yes, what? If no, then how can we still more influence in making, because see, eventually it has to work both ways. The ground reality at times, what happens is when you are creating products, let's say for example, we have a product which is made through ocean-bound plastics. We have packaging which is going to be 75% recycled, and that's a commitment we have given to ourselves. That adds to the cost today, because you are going to add that cost to your product line, and eventually we are in a competitive world, right? So if the customer doesn't value and give us a preference on some of these things, how do you balance, right? So do you see that changes happening on sustainable procurement practices? And some advice on that will be very helpful.
Okay, so I think the good news is that many big companies, they are working on procurement practices. And I remember even from our organization, GRI, we have actually organized programs called Transparency in Supply Chain. And that was in 2007-8, where we worked with private companies, multinationals, who wanted to create a trustworthy supply chain. So this is very important. And a trustworthy meaning that they didn't want risks around environmental and social issues which may harm the supply chain and in turn, harm them.
Sure.
So they wanted to actually bring in that kind of credibility to their own performance, and there is one term called traceability. So a t-shirt hanging in a showroom of a North American, boutique shop, what is the traceability of that t-shirt when we look at the cotton, the print, the stitches, and then of course the pricing.
Sure.
So even I think the consumer goods which you are also giving out to the market, and there are many other companies who are doing that, they have started realizing that traceability is very, very important.
Oh, that's an interesting point. Let's say, for example, on our products, we have a label which talks about traceability of where this is. I think it gives that sensitivity more and more.
And there are couple of organizations I am aware of, those who have a QR code on their product, whereby the QR code can be scanned and a customer can see where the product materials have come.
Completely backtrace it, right? Oh, lovely. That's excellent.
So I think these are few great examples, but I hope that they are not the pilot ones, and they are not the elite club. We need many more.
We need to broad base also.
We need many more. But one question, if I put myself from the business side, which I am always intrigued with, is that why would I do it? As a founder and a promoter of an organization, or a person who is deeply, faithful to the organization, why would I do it? The only reason is, are we able to see a future for all of us where we can live peacefully? Or as a decision maker, am I doing something today which is going to bring harm to me and others? Am I going to leave this world with regret or no regret?
And what are you doing for the future generations? The way earlier generations gave something to us, we also owe, right, to the future generation of what are we going to leave the world for? I think that one question, if all of us probably answer, there is going to be a bit of extra sensitivity.
So zero harm and no regret is very important. And I am sure when the CEOs and the managing directors and the chairman of the companies, whether it is public sector or private sector, they have a role to play which is usually short term, I would say, in an organization, because at a senior level you see, okay, 3-4 years maybe, or 5 years, and then I am off, right? But when I am off, do I want to really believe that I contributed something which is zero harm and no regret for myself? So I would say, beyond the business case of all these environmental responsibility and social responsibility, even me as a person, if I am a business lady, what do I want to leave this world with? That is my end goal, I feel, individually. And I want to see that kind of leaders who are constantly thinking that what do I leave behind? And the UN SDGs actually has a very nice quote around this, no one left behind, no one left behind. There will be no poverty, no zero hunger, good health, no climate change, all of that. But we are actually, having a very ambitious and overwhelming goal set by the 193 countries of the world, signed off by the head of the states, saying that we are all going to achieve this. But we have to really understand that it starts from one. And the power of one is great.
Is great. Talking about supply chain, you touched upon supply chain and a little bit on that, because that's a big portion of climate change and in electronic manufacturing process, both in terms of manufacturing as well as supply chain, packaging, and overall. That is one other area, right, where we are investing a lot, and with now a lot of focus on Make in India and manufacturing. And are you also seeing that government or agencies are looking at companies who have manufacturing practices which are sustainable, or supply chain practices, and are there any initiatives by which such companies get a differential or a preferential treatment? It could be taxation, it could be rebates, it could be some other areas by which people are, because that's another area which of course we get challenged every day. What is your view on that front?
So sustainability, the driver of sustainability, I would say, one is that it's internal. You you identify a business case and you identify some risks and opportunities for the business strategy and you want to align, right? The other is the regulation and the other is the incentive, right? So, of course, you know, there are incentives which are there, and some of the ministries in our own country, they are working on this. They are trying to see how supply chain can happen. But I would say again, you know, as a leadership organization, I think HP has created its position in the market, and the position that you all can work towards is by mentoring the SMEs here.
Sure, okay.
Because we are also striving as a growing nation to improve our GDP, right? Even on that also there is a lot of debate, you know, whether it's a true GDP or whether there's some number fudging and all of that, okay? But with GDP, if we can see that there are so many number of small enterprises which you have mentored and coached and grown them to become a very strong organization with minimal risks around environmental and social issues, you have done a great job.
Yeah, just to add on that, I don't know you got a chance to read that on our report. We have almost 10,000 odd channel partners in India, and globally we have more and more such partners, and they are an extended arm of our products and solutions. We have started a program called HP Amplify Impact program, an umbrella program for our partners, where we do assessment of their sustainability capabilities. They are SMEs on their own way. So we assess the capabilities, they give us their inputs, and then we have a program by which we give them inputs in terms of coaching them, training them, making sure they understand, and then of course they talk to their customers. So both for their internal as well as their clients. It's a great program, industry's first, I would say, in the tech space. But yeah, exactly to your point, that how can we contribute by lifting SMEs? It could be sub-suppliers in the manufacturing space or our partners in the sales and marketing space. But yeah, very important.
So in GRI, you know, I think I swayed from that basic point to something else, but I wanted to share that GRI has been doing a lot of work in the supply chain. We actually partner with the main organization and its supply chain to kind of get into a tripartite MOU. And then we have a private and public kind of association, whereby there is a, you know, a pact that is signed that the mentoring organization will mentor, GRI will come in to provide the expertise, but they have to also be accountable to put that into practice. And I'm quite impressed what you are doing here, and I feel that SMEs, if they grow here, I think our employment problem, where there's a huge gap, that will be also covered.
Care of, and you're doing larger service to the overall economy.
I also wanted to congratulate you on, you know, seeing your report on the CSR projects that you are doing. And so when I looked at the map, I found that there are more than 6 lakh villages in India, and you are already touching with, I think, about 6,700 villages or so, right? Approximately. And you are working there for digital inclusion.
Absolutely.
I was blown off when I saw the digital bus, which has all the equipments, and 20 children can be accommodated. Young people, especially girls, who are getting trained. So I think this is the way that we need to go. And here I would like to say that sustainability is not European or American. It is very much because we are citizens of India, we are the citizen of this world, and therefore it is our responsibility to do this. I often used to hear 20 years back, sustainability is foreign. We know what to do. We may be knowing, but are we practicing?
But are we practicing? No, this is awesome, and thank you once again. I really appreciate you taking time out, especially the current health situation, and you still having time for us. Taking time out and reading our report. So thank you for that also, because it's always great to hear feedback from an expert like you. What are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? And hear your thoughts. One last question, and probably a last input, I would say. Like, we are doing a lot of work. If one area where you feel HP can look at, which probably we are not doing right now, or what you would have observed either from our report or whatever our understanding is with you, what would be that advice before we sign off for this talk?
Okay, so I think I don't have any feedback really, because I said the three pillars are great.
Yeah.
They are not only globally important but also in a country like India. I would like to see that there is more action and results. You have the targets in place. How can it align with our national priorities? So if I can actually ask you, maybe we need to, as a leadership organization, can we have more association with the policymakers?
Sure.
To say that private organizations can contribute to the national interest of sustainable development. I think somewhere we are, missing out. We are doing it in our own ways because
but you play an active role, and how do you get into that?
We need more, not lobbying in the sense of the wrong implication, but I think lobbying for sustainability in association with the policymakers. I think that will make our country really shine. Yeah,
awesome.
But I would like to ask one question before we sign off.
Sure.
As a decision maker of this organization, what are your concerns for the next 2, 3, 5 years?
So and you already touched upon, right? We are all blessed to have a business, right, and an economy which is doing so well, and that eventually helps us doing our business. But look at pandemic, right? In some way, like you can say, I don't know, is it related to sustainability or not? But that's one alarm bell which the world is telling us that if you are not sensitive, it is going to hurt the world in some or the other way. Now, pandemic in some sense helped our business because we are in the tech industry. It ensured that work from home, learning from home, allowed a lot of our products and solutions to really accelerate to a level which we had never seen before in our lives. But there could be a situation because of climate change, because of human rights, because of digital inequity, which can hurt our business. So from a business perspective, we can get into a situation where what we live every day can actually hurt us in a very different way. So that is more like your personal stuff or your business area. And at a larger level, if this kind of devastation what pandemic did happens to the world, that there is nothing right beyond that. So what we are doing today, what we are all happy with, what we feel excited about, all becomes questionable if this is not sustainable. So in that sense, that is one thing which bothers me as a leader, that how can we ensure that the world remains a better place for to your point, right, about feeling good about what you do every day, and every small step helps in that direction. That is one larger cause, I would say. Otherwise, there are other worries which keeps happening, but as long as we keep taking care of this, it will be great.
Great. So wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. Dr. Aditi, thank you again for joining. Team, this was Dr. Aditi Halder, an expert on sustainability area, and we are so privileged to have her today and hear her thoughts. I'm sure some of the dialogue and the discussion which we had today will be very helpful to all of you in crystallizing your thought around this topic, because I know this topic sometimes can be complex for a lot of you, but this is a proud moment for us at HP, both globally and locally, as we make sustainable impact as our core of our vision and mission, and it's not a periphery. So it's our role and duty, as Aditi said, playing an important role individually, collectively, and as a corporate. Thank you so much for watching this.
Thank you. All the best.
Thank you.